But if these numbers alone don't send a shockwave that says there is some level of urgency that has to be had here, even from reporting it, these editorial board members know what the numbers are, they know what the statistics are, they understand the effects of the black community, and so that whole racism thing does have to be discussed, even when we have the media conversation. So what is the strategy that must be used in engaging these folks to determine what hits the air, what stories run on the front page, if they know these statistics but they still don't think it's a story?
Well, great question. That's why I brought up the fact that you have to have a long-term time horizon here. The Washington Post did the story. It's come back to it a few times in various iterations, but remember, if the Post does the story on Monday, it's not going to come back to it on Tuesday. It might not come back to it Wednesday. It might be another 6 months. But it's an issue, it's a matter of picking and choosing your outlets, picking and choosing the reporters and producers you want to work with. It's about building partnerships, which is very important, with people who are outside of your discipline. So for instance, I look at the example of education. Now, it wasn't until I think you got the combination of Newt Gingrich, Al Sharpton, and Mike Bloomberg all focusing on education as the new civil rights movement, that you've got people focusing on the fact that we've got to fix these damaged public schools. The same thing has to be done in the HIV/AIDS story, and particularly it has to be done with the story related to African American men and African American communities. You have to find articulate and attractive spokespeople, as superficial as it is, we're talking the media after all, who can be a partner with everyone to get the story out. If you get Mary J. Blige, you get Beyonce, you get Queen Latifah, you get any number of very famous African Americans, guaranteed you will get attention. It's guaranteed. But you have to find a willing and able partner.
Exactly. I'll tell you what was causing brother. I agree with what the gentleman was saying. Just briefly, 30 seconds. Project Brotherhood was featured on Black American CNN today behind there. We got no press. We don't look for press. We just want to say Black men's lives. We got no press in the city of Chicago. An artist named Common wore one of our T-shirts on stage at the Maxwell concert. Our phone rang off of her. Made it in the newspaper and everything. I said, damn. So everybody knows there's problems out there. We know it's racist, we know our issues, but they don't care. So what we're doing in Project Brotherhood is we're using the internet. I can't afford to pay for an ad on BET. I can't afford to pay for an ad in Ebony. If Ebony gives me a free ad, that's Ebony. So what we have to do is we have to make our ads culturally specific for Black folks, culturally and gender specific. Common's coming back in town, we're going to take out our little $99 flip camera and put it on the internet and ask him to put it on his website and then link it up with some of his other peers. Because Common and these Nellies and Jay-Z's could sell gym shoes and definitely sell health care. So I'm not going to wait on the government to bail out Black folks. I'm not going to wait on corporate America, even though they should. I'm going to go get a video camera, get a still camera, take some pictures, put it on the website, because we know that. The Common and these other artists, not just for HIV, even for other chronic diseases. Because all the things, the 5 leading causes of death of Black men are preventable. So if we get culturally and gender and age-specific messages when necessary by our seniors and our young people, we can make a difference. And then that'll put pressure on the media. The media say, oh, and these foundations say, oh, these folks are making a difference. Let me attach my name to it. And then the money will start going. So we can't wait. We have to do it ourselves.
Tony and Reverend Sanders, Tony, you mentioned that in many cases you find that you may be one of a few heterosexual men that you find involved in some of these conversations, and oftentimes you're not involved in the conversation. As we start talking about improving the response around heterosexual men in particular, what are some of the tactics that you have seen effective in bringing in not just the comments who may be a heterosexual celebrity, but how do you bring in heterosexual regular brothers that can move beyond some of the stigma that exists in our community to be comfortable in being representatives around some of the HIV work and the reduction work that needs to be done?
Being honest with brothers, because again, what we don't want to face or deal with when we talk about HIV with heterosexual brothers, we carry a lot of baggage. Think about this. The reality of it is, you don't even raise your hand. But most folks, first time you ever had your real decline, most folks are by ourselves. But brothers, we don't come to terms with that. And as young men discover our sexuality, hey, still going up wrong folk dog. As growing up as young, when you're a little friend, you had a little masturbation, jack off contest. You hump your brother, your cousin. But that's what you do as a young boy, discover your sexuality. And what happens, and this is real, I know that everybody ain't testifying, but you know, but see what happens is, man, in discovering our sexuality, what we do, and as you grow up, you won't get that out your head, man, because you don't want to be necessarily considered you the faggot or something. And brothers don't want to revisit that. And what you're doing is you just discover your sexuality as a kid. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You know what I mean? And you have to be honest and come to terms with yourself on that reality. And most brothers don't want to revisit that. Because the worst thing you can do in the community is be punked.
But Tony, where does that conversation happen? Right?
In the
Because there are a lot of people
even
in this room right now that are uncomfortable.
And I can see it, feel it.
And so, but how do we, because this is a conversation that might be happening in the barbershop.
Right.
It's not always productive,
Right.
but it's happening.
Right.
And it may be happening in some of our living rooms while we're drinking.
Right.
But where institutionally are we having this kind of conversation that leads us to a place where brothers can transition beyond it and be included into this broader movement?
Brother, I've only seen it, I've not seen it in a form, because again, when you come like this, you gotta get honest, and folk don't wanna get honest. The success that we've had, whatever the success that we have had, has been one-on-ones. We have to meet with folk and run it, and allow them to actually purge themselves of some of that nonsense. Because the first conversation you're gonna get when you're talking to a brother, especially, I don't care who they are, the major leaguers and all that other stuff, people that go to press conferences and swallow on camera because they got to, because it's politically correct to do that. They talk about your religion color. We have to get with folk one-on-one and let them purge themselves of something, because they got some stuff they can that they don't want to share with you. And we have to change the dialogue. Like, even like today, it broke my heart. Even in here, we talk about dialogue. That's a problem for me. And I'm a heterosexual man. All that does is further separate us from one another. If I say down low, you think of a brother. A black man is immoral, having sex with men and women, not telling a woman. Why would we do that to ourselves? You ain't think of Elton John when he was married, or any of them other folk. Why would we do that to ourselves? We have to change our language. And what I try to do with talking about, I change language. I'm not using the language that people want to express me to liberate me. That's crazy. That's not going to happen. And we have to be honest with each other. Again, I would argue the hardest part is us being honest.
And so have any of you found, because clearly the stigma is real, but where have we begun to move beyond it and found some effective ways to bring other brothers in? Because what Tony's talking about is real, and that's a whole other discussion that has to be dealt with. But there have been some successes